KFUG Community Radio. That's what happens. Songs end, tracks end. Oh, dead air. Hey, it is, what is it? I'm getting my glasses here. 3 minutes past 11. Paul Kritz with you. Community Service, the show, and I'm joined live in the studio. Mr. John Thompson from JT, they call you down at the Trees of Mystery.
Well, they do on the radio, yeah.
They do on the radio, too?
Yeah, when we call on the radio, it's
oh,
JT,
yeah, on the radio.
Yeah,
yeah, right. What's Paul Bunyan call you?
Oh,
Sir. No, that's not. So how are you doing? How was your summer?
Well, we're doing great. It's last summer was like an incredibly incredible year and really tough to beat. So we're doing our second best year ever.
Wow!
Record Labor Day weekend. 8,000 people in 3 days at Trees of Mystery.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was really awesome. You know,
that's nuts. And you were telling me even today you've struggling to deal with the crowds that are down there.
It's quite a crowd rolled in today. I guess it's Friday, so must be so that a lot of folks are coming early today and. From just everywhere. A school group of 80 people are coming. Yeah.
So, tourism, I mean, the season doesn't end at Labor Day then for you, right?
Oh, totally not.
Yeah.
No.
How far
September is a good month. I mean, it's not like summer months, July, August. It's more like a June.
Okay.
And so, because June, schools get out in the middle of June or so. It's different all over the West Coast, but when they get out, then people start traveling. And so we're very dependent on when the school vacations are and that kind of a thing. And then, October's not bad. And November is pretty tapering off, but December, January, February are pretty dead.
Really? All the way? Wow. All the way into, I think Mary's going to join us, actually.
Awesome.
So, I'm surprised it goes that long, but that does make sense. That's cool. And also coming up, what year is it? Is it 21 or 22? You'll be celebrating the 75th?
Oh, yes, the 75th anniversary. Yeah, it's in June of 21, I believe it is. It's from 1946. So as when my folks purchased that with my grandparents. I'm like third generation at the Trees of Mystery. So we've been doing this for a long, long time.
Oh, we've got Mary and Dean. How you guys doing?
Good.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Have a seat. I was catching up with John just about and Dean, you can grab one of the chairs over there, something to make yourself to home. Just kind of talking about 75 years of the Trees of Mystery and how his summer was doing. You have anything planned for the anniversary, for the birthday?
There are many plans in the works. It should be a pretty good celebration for that.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Right on. Cool. Mary, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Let me get
beautiful day today.
We'll get everybody closer here. Just a little. There you go. Excellent. It is a beautiful day out there. So you've just sat down. You've just got settled. But let me just touch with you really quick. How was your summer at the Ocean World?
Second best summer ever. It was really good summer. Most everyone I talked to. Yeah, it was hard to beat last year because it was Del Norte. We benefited in a lot of ways, actually, and the economy was rolling along really well. And unfortunately, fires in some of the other areas also pushed a lot of tourism to Del Norte. And so I think everyone I spoke with last year had an excellent year.
Yeah, we were fortunate this year that we didn't get a big column of smoke over here in the hills kind of blowing off on us too.
Right. There are a lot of communities that are really affected by that.
So tourism in general, where should we begin? Do you want to start with the website?
Well, let me start with history.
Okay. All right. Take us through.
Every expert in the world over the years, the many years that we've been involved in this, from 1968 when the national park was formed, and the people from Washington, D.C., don't worry about you're losing your timber industry. Tourism will more than make up for that. Okay. People always complain, well, it didn't happen. Well, it doesn't happen by itself. The national parks don't advertise themselves. They don't market. They don't do that. It's the communities around them that do that. I have lots of examples around the country that you can look at. Moab, Utah, with Arches and Canyonlands National Park. The parks don't market. The town is booming, thriving, prosperous. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, outside of Great Smoky National Park, same thing. 18 million visitors a year come to the park, but they want to do something fun. besides the park. And they have everything fun there, including Dollywood and family entertainment centers and Ripley's, believe it or not. And there's so much foot traffic on the sidewalks that you couldn't screw up a business if you tried. Okay?
You have to really go out of your way, right?
Really, really intense tourism. Nobody really lives in the town. They live outside of town. They've got shopping centers and everything, and they're really happy out there. It's a beautiful countryside, but the town is really for the tourists and going through and going on to the national park. Jackson Hole, Wyoming, same story. On and on of all these communities that are gateways to national parks. So we do have a national park, but we've never ever taken advantage of that as a community and marketed that, and then become the bedroom for that park, that entertainment for that park. People they have to eat, they have to sleep, they want to do other things besides just look at beautiful redwood trees. So it totally is an opportunity that is gone unrequited. It's just it's pretty sad.
What's kept us from capitalizing on that?
Well, that's a good term. Dean says ignorance. I suppose that could be characterized that way. I've tried for like 30 years to explain how we are so successful, and we are doing pretty darn good. It's
something, if you've got a business that's like yours for 75 years, that's been there and doing what you're doing, maybe you're a voice to listen to in this regard.
Well, you'd think so, but no, I've been thwarted at every turn. Like 12 years ago, I'd spent 2 or 3 years gathering money together for marketing. I created the visitor bureau in the chamber. I'm a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, past president of the Redwood Empire Association and the Oregon Coast Association. I've been in tourism and marketing for a long, long time. Okay, and a bigger scale than really anybody else around. And including Mary and Dean, who do a great job, but they don't have the reach that we do. It is so obvious what you have to do, but there are a million ways to spend marketing money and waste it. Okay. And you can spend millions and millions of dollars and never have any effect. And, if you don't do it right, you have to implement it properly.
Okay. So you say it's obvious what we need to do. What is it we need to do?
Where do you want to start? Okay. In today's world, I do about $200,000 a year in marketing.
Clarify that. You spend $200,000 a year in marketing.
I do.
That's
pretty clear. Yes.
That's okay. I wanted to make that's a lot of money to market and not to market, but a lot of money to spend. And you probably pay attention to what that money gets you.
Well, it's an investment, and you want a return on your investment. So I'm very conservative, and I've made a lot of mistakes in marketing. Don't misunderstand me, but we've got it pretty well refined down. Okay, and all the different kinds of things we do, and it keeps changing too. And so you have to be up with that all the time, and especially with the internet and all the social media and that kind of a thing, and participate in those things at the various levels that are appropriate, and also track it as best you can. But yes, the web is very important, and we're going to talk about the current web status for Del Norte County here later. I do billboards. I do 300,000 brochures from Washington to San Francisco, distributed to every place that a tourist might stop. This is all the people on the highway. I'm in travel magazines like Via and Sunset that reach over 10 million potential customers on the West Coast. Those kinds of things, and then there's all the opportunities and the seeds that you plant along the way that perhaps someday bear fruit. For instance, like the Strange Inheritance show that I did a year and a half ago. Just this morning, I was leaving to come here at the gift shop, and a couple on motorcycle came because of the Strange Inheritance show, and were just delighted to meet me. It was, I said, well, that's great, but the place is really magic, and you'll really love it. So, and it happens almost every day that people catch me like that. The Strange Inheritance show reaches nationwide. Okay, cost me nothing.
Yeah, that was a wonderful opportunity.
And I've had many, many opportunities like that and various kinds of things. In May, we had the Archangel Foundation come and climb the Brotherhood tree to take cuttings so that they can propagate the greatest trees on earth and replant them in other places and combat climate change and that kind of a thing through that method. I've been associated with them for several years, and I don't charge them anything, and they're very grateful to be able to climb the Brotherhood tree, which is 300 feet tall, 19 feet in diameter. And this year they brought all kinds of media with them: CNN, BBC, National Geographic, NBC. All this media came, and also the producer of Hamilton.
That's awesome.
I believe he's probably a supporter of the organization, and he came to see what they do.
Yeah. So I'm curious about you. You're talking about brochures, and I know, Mary, that you're a fan of like rack cards, and I still love seeing your rack cards. Hundreds of miles afield, because they both iterations of the rack cards have my kids on them.
Yeah.
So it's fun walking into a restaurant in like Bandon and picking up. Oh, there's Maddie and Zoe. Look at that. That's really cool. So new media. Online things, your Yelp, and you're reaching out, your online marketing, websites, such like that. How does that compare still in this day and age with something you can hold in your hand, with a brochure, with a rack card, as far as bringing people to your attraction?
Well, I've tracked the brochures, and just like John with his marketing, frugal when we spend money, and then we want to make sure that we're getting a return for that. And so as far as the brochures go, I have in the past put trackers on them if they turn them in, that they will receive something free or a discount currently. And then when I get them back, I can count up how many I've received, and through a multiplier, figure out that a lot more people had them that didn't use them, and that they're a really good marketing tool. And so I know that a lot of people, in fact, years ago, there was a big push at the chamber. They all wanted everything online. And anyway, it's I think that you have to have different tools for different groups of people, and that there is a place for some of the old standard marketing tools like the brochure that people can have in their hand. That as far as I don't think they turn yours in when you go to Trees of Mystery. But as far as my tracking over the years, I really have had very little decline in the number of brochures that get redeemed at Ocean World.
It stayed a constant, you mean?
Yeah,
as far
it's been very constant percentage that I get in every year, even though, everybody's got the smartphone and
I was just wondering about that, despite all of that, because I was involved with the tourism board, and that was back when it was like, let's go online. But it occurs to me, that was just an assumption. I just assumed, everybody's online, but you guys would have real insight into how effective that is as a marketing tool, because, like you say, you do track these fungible, these things you can hold in your hands that attract. I also think, I forget who brought this up at one point. We were talking about this, but rack cards and brochures like that are usually in racks that are kind of lower, where maybe kids can see them. And, if they see something that grabs their eye, like petting a shark or the gondola ride in the tree, that might be something where you can reach out and grab it and you've got this thing. But you guys have the insight as to the effectiveness of that old school media as
and I think it helps to focus people. Honestly, online there's so much, and it's not really given away. Things can get lost. I know certainly when we travel as a family that we look for the images, and we look at what's going to be coming up down the road, because you could spend hours on the phone trying to research,
just even trying to finding service and figuring out where you are. Exactly.
It's just easy to use a tool like a brochure. And so and we did put together a nice brochure for Del Norte County here a few years back, and they have been distributing it, as far as I know.
I've gone through 2 cases of the chamber brochure that you helped design. So yes, it's still going out and it's still very popular.
That's good.
And you can't underestimate it has been a great impact for tourism. TripAdvisor, Yelp, those that are customer driven reviews as opposed to ads. They bring a lot of people in. As long as we have a good rating on TripAdvisor, it's a popular place to go to see the comments, and it drives a lot of business into our direction.
That makes, and that kind of consumer driven, like word of mouth, is very, very powerful.
It is. A lot of people don't pay attention. They don't believe ads because they're paid. They don't believe a lot of but that customer driven response and rating and review, it's trusted by a lot of people, and so they look at that, and they look at those ratings, those star ratings, and I know we spend time poring over these things, these reviews, to make sure that that any negative comments are addressed or answered.
Do you use it for feedback like that?
We do on our Facebook, especially.
That's great.
Because it's one of those things that you want to try to stay on top of, so that if there is some unforeseen issue and that you're not on top of, that kind of response does help.
Yeah. So. All right, so we've kind of hinted around a little bit and talked to, and you said, Dean said it was ignorance that was. What are we doing wrong? What's holding us back?
Well, if I may, because I've been in this battle for for so many decades, and it has been a battle, and I hear the same theme come from some people in the community. Okay. Over and over again, and again, recently here, that tourism destroys communities, that it's all minimum wage jobs. And recently, and it started down in Humboldt, can we market without using redwood trees? The executive director of the CVB, Humboldt CVB, proposed that, and they had a meeting to discuss it, and he passed away, and they've tabled it. Fortunately for the county of Humboldt, because redwoods is really the main thing, just like Del Norte for Humboldt, to attract visitors. I mean, we have lots of other things too, of course, but the number one thing is redwoods. I mean, everybody wants to experience the redwoods, or maybe an aquarium too. But while they're at the redwoods, they want to do the aquarium. They want to do fun things too. Okay, and that's certainly hand in hand with that. And of course the beautiful rivers but they're limited to how you access those things. So it's not a huge thing, and for large numbers of people, because you need a foot traffic. You need a large numbers of people to be able to make it a success, to where you can't screw up a business because there's so many people walking by your door. Somebody's going to buy something. It's a numbers game, always is, impulse buys and et cetera. The minimum wage things, look, I have people that work for me that make more than most anybody in this county. Okay. We have like 85 employees in the summertime, on all different levels, from 14 and 15-year-old kids in their first job ever, and delighted to make $12 an hour.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and you've got folks who've worked for you for decades.
For decades, and making $100,000. Okay, we have engineer type people, manager type people, merchandising type people, supervising people, all at much higher wages than minimum wage. It's a spectrum of everything, and it really creates opportunities for people, and.
And okay, so they're just a little. I mean, market pressures, right? If you have, say, a booming tourism economy, and you only have, you've got a limited pool of workers, of employees in a community, that's going to drive the wages up.
Yes, it does.
Right? That's how that's supposed to work.
Yes,
right?
it's supposed to work that way. Yep. And it does.
All right. So other concerns. First off, and I just want to backtrack just a little bit. I know you're going down a list here, but why in the world would anybody on the north coast of California ask, can we not market redwoods? Why? Any justification?
I can't even imagine how you could be so. Yes, I know what the justification is.
What?
Because these people have their cabin in the woods and they don't want a lot of tourists in their yard cluttering up their view shed. Okay, that is the justification for that.
And that goes hand in hand with the criticism of tourism ruining communities by bringing a bunch of people.
Now, see. The tourism and the way and those towns that I was mentioning and others, many others around the country, Monterey is another one that comes to mind.
Mendocino.
And that you see, without tourism creates opportunity. I got a great story about Tom Stewart. Do you remember Tom Stewart?
Yeah.
All right. I got to tell that. Anyway, about opportunity. But if you have no opportunity, if there's no tourism and there's no industry and there's just kind of just nothing here, okay, there's no hope. And without hope, there's only despair and decay. And that's what we're experiencing now.
It seems like we kind of walk that fine line, teetering on that edge.
I think we've fallen off the cliff and we're going down
Seriously?
the toilet.
Really?
Totally. This community has been booming and happy and full and everybody pulling along and having a great time, okay, in the past. My gosh. And today it is very, very sad to me and really makes me want to cry. All the empty storefronts in downtown Crescent City, the homeless people scattered everywhere, they don't have any hope either. Okay, and without any opportunity, you can't have any hope. And
okay, now let me just stop right. I mean, it seems to me, my feeling, at least with Crescent City, downtown Crescent City, is that we've kind of like come back up a little bit. There's quite a lot of involvement downtown, and not as many empty storefronts as there used to be. And you go downtown nowadays, most days, you see a lot of folks walking around. Is that just in my head? Do you guys not see this as well? It seems like there is kind of at least a resurgence in pride and people wanting to do something about downtown and actually taking action, taking steps. You know, everything the Divas trying to raise money to get another public restroom in downtown, having their first Friday events, things like that. Is it like it was in the 50s on 2nd Street? No, of course not. But am I imagining that?
I think, we've had some successes. Seaquake being one of them.
Right.
It's drawing people down back into that area. But one of the biggest problems that Del Norte County has is we are largely government dependent. Our tax base is tax fed. I mean, government jobs are good jobs. They pay well, but they're a net loss. I mean, you're basically taking tax dollars to pay for jobs that produce nothing. I mean, they produce no income. They do a service, and the service is necessary and needed, but they produce no income. We used to have a vibrant fishing port, and we lost some of that because of the fact that we had it damaged and down for so long after the tsunamis, and it has not returned, partly because of California regulations and governmental regulations on the fishing industry that is injuring it and hurting it, and the cost of docking a boat here in our harbor went up exponentially with the cost of the repairs of the harbor.
To refurb, yeah.
We had a vibrant timber industry that brought in numerous tax dollars into Del Norte County that fed our schools, that fed our communities, and provided necessary and needed. I was a sheriff for 12 years, and the services that you want to provide to your community, the need for those services, are fed by tax dollars. So to have a community like ours that has one of the gems in the world, the Redwood National Park, and then to do absolutely nothing with it is criminal.
So bigger picture, I guess, is you say we've fallen off the precipice. Is tourism enough to save us? I mean, as we move away from a resource-based economy that sustained us for 100+ years, I mean, can tourism
in those other communities that I mentioned? Yeah.
Okay.
Jackson Hole, Wyoming, back after the war, World War II, it was a cattle town, but the whole market they were about to dry up and blow away. Okay, and because the economy there was going down, was just gone away. And they said, "Oh, why don't we try this tourism thing? Where I got this yellow dang park up here, and and stuff, and we could give it a try. What the heck, And I mean, we're dying anyway. So,
and what's near Jackson Hole? It's Grand Tetons. Is that closer than Yellowstone?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah. And but all that park stuff, okay,
Yeah.
and was drawing millions of people, but they weren't taking advantage of it. So they reached out, and they were eminently successful. Have you ever been there?
Jackson Hole?
Yeah.
No, I go the other way.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I know where it is.
Holy
but
cow!
around
$1 million
the Tetons.
cowboy bar and the arches made out of antlers around the center square. Stores and shops, all upscale, beautiful places.
On the other side, I forget the name of the community, but there is a community I've been through twice that you go through the West Gate into Yellowstone and just inside over, I think it's the Montana line before you go from
West,
Idaho.
it's called West Yellowstone.
West Yellowstone, yeah. And that's
same story.
booming.
Gateway, yeah.
And even wintertime.
Gatlinburg, Tennessee, 60 years ago, there was a general store and an outhouse down the bottom of the canyon. Okay. Today, with at the entrance to the Great Smoky National Park, I mean, it is bursting with 1,500 unit motels and every kind of a gift shop and tourist attraction or tourist trap that you can possibly think of, and they work.
Okay. What do you say to folks who don't want big big hotels here, who don't want that tourism bustle, who don't want all those people here, the Del Norters who, and there are days I'm one of them, I'll be honest with you, where I'm just, shut up, leave me alone. The people who want, what do you say to those folks, the folks who think that tourism will ruin our community like that by making it sort of a, I don't know, whatever, a kitschy sort of lots of neon, lots of people walking, people bad driving at the intersection up here,
Well, you can manage those things if with really good planning. Okay, that's all. Yeah. Those other ones developed over many decades. It took them to develop. Really, I think we could improve it a lot in a very short order
and learn from them too, right?
And learn from them totally. There's lots of examples on how to do it.
And of course, if you're bringing income into the community, then you've got the resources to address those issues when it comes to all those problems. Okay, but there is like a kind of a Del Norte kind of down, hangdog sort of ambivalence, I think, about outsiders coming in. Is that part of it? Is that part of our reluctance?
From what I understand, the ranchers in Jackson Hole are the same way. They didn't want to do it. But they're glad they did.
Yeah. Okay, so there is then, in your estimation, there is a tourism parachute that can save us in that fall, right? That free fall.
I believe there is, and because I do it every day, and Mary does it, and Dean do it every day, and their family does it every day. Okay, we are, we thrive. We succeed. Okay. I'm going to tell you about Tom Stewart, if I may.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, I almost forgot that story. This is a great story. Tom Stewart was a really neat man in our community. He worked at an auto parts store. And then he did a stint on the Harbor Commission. And I was 25, 30 years ago talking to the Harbor Commission about tourism. They wanted to develop the harbor to attract tourists and stuff. And we were thinking about it, or that was the subject anyway. And I was telling them, yes, you can, and we just need to get that foot traffic going. Bay Street in Florence, Oregon is incredible. Another incredible little spot in Florence, Bay Street. And so they were kind of talking about this kind of thing, and I was going on about how great it could be and that kind of a thing. And they didn't choose to do anything. But anyway, a few months later, I ran into Tom in town, and Tom Stewart, really neat man. And he says, John, I was just over in Medford, and I saw this guy on the street out here. He's got a hot dog stand. And I said, I was thinking about what you were telling me about all the traffic and stuff and whatnot, how you could do a business. In fact, I think I had mentioned the hot dog stand because I had one at the time. And he said, so I went over and talked to this guy, and he says, it's just a hot dog stand, roll around hot dog stand. He said, how do you do with this hot dog stand here with all these people and whatnot? The guy says, I do great. I sell about $100,000 a year. I got a daughter in college. I got 2 brand new cars. I'm doing just great.
Nice.
And Tom was really pleased to relate that story to me. So he was sold, but we didn't get everybody else on board. So, but it's the same kind of a thing. And I was in a workshop at a convention one time on tourism, and the guy says, the people are looking around and are saying, what do I do? What do I do? I mean, and he says, you're like standing in the middle of the Mississippi River with your 10 cups saying, where's my water? And that's exactly where we are. Redwood National State Parks, all this incredible natural wonder and beauty, Ocean World and Trees of Mystery, great hotels in town here. I mean, you're in the middle of the Mississippi River saying, where's my water? And
these things are all like kind of out of the box, ready to go now. There are other things in Del Norte County that could be developed.
Totally.
That could be
Opportunity will bring that, okay? But you got to start somewhere, and we got to start by marketing, okay? Marketing properly. We are not doing that now. The new Visitor Bureau, which consists of the harbor, the city, and the county, are spending $100,000 a year for over 3 years to market this county.
That's their total marketing budget?
That's what I understand they're doing.
Okay.
They're contributing TOT tax dollars towards that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So per year or for 3 years?
Per year over 3 years.
Per year,
$100,000.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I'm curious, any insight into the percentage of TOT, how much TOT money ends up going to that?
Not enough. I honestly believe that when it was originally passed, it was all supposed to go to market tourism. So I believe, at least 50% should go to, market tourism, because it comes from the
tourists.
hotels and the tourists.
Yeah.
And so...
goes to feed government.
Yeah.
Goes to feed.
I think it just goes into the general fund right now, and I know it's definitely
It's the last unmandated tax that they have,
and then they act offended when we ask for more.
Yeah.
When who asks for more?
When the cultural
marketing
committee asks for money.
See, but I mean, it's not just about the amount of dollars being spent. I mean, your contention is that they're being poorly spent.
The few dollars that we can get, they are. And I mean, there's like $2 million worth of bed tax money collected in this county annually. Wow. Okay, most of it in the city. So I'm a little unhappy with
the new website.
The new website, yeah. Did you guys get a chance to look at that?
Oh,
wasn't that lovely?
Shall we discuss?
Oh, you talk about missing the mark by a mile. I mean, it is. I don't know. And they've been on this kick for a while now, trying to promote quote unquote ecotourism, and downplay, not only commercial opportunities, the Trees of Mystery, Ocean World, other places, but to not clearly focus on the number one, driver of our community and why people come here. I mean, they come here to see the redwoods. I mean, that's what draws them here. And this website, I mean, it's buried in there.
It is, yeah.
I mean, it's significantly buried in there. You can get there, but I mean, that should be the number one driver. That should be the showcase. That should be, across the front banner, come to, the home of the Redwood National Park.
Right.
I mean, come and see these magnificent, one of a kind, only in the world,
Well, and what have I heard? There's less than 2% of old growth redwood forests left, and I forget what the outrageous percentage of that 2% that we have here in Del Norte County. Like it's like 15-20% or something. We've got a big chunk of surviving old growth redwood here.
I mean, the missed opportunity, not only on the website, but I mean, sheer ignorance, and I said ignorance, leads us in this community to not point out the most beautiful and most great asset that we have to focus and to bring people to the community. You drive into this community, do you see a single sign of any significance that says Redwood National Park?
No.
Home of?
No.
Welcome to? I mean, tear down this welcome to Crescent City sign. Tear down, hey, Del Norte County. They should have this huge, look like, Reno, when you're the biggest little city in the world, right? Yeah. It should be an arch that goes across the and have, big trees and bears hanging off it and a huge elk that says, you've arrived.
Yeah,
You are home.
This
Welcome
is where
to the
they
Redwood
are.
National Park.
And all the other things that can be attractions. We talk about like ecotourism. I mean, in a sense, just about all tourism that brings people to Del Norte County is going to be ecotourism. I mean, in a broad sense, right? I mean, you're here to see nature.
People are coming.
Yeah.
For the magnificence and the beauty of the redwoods. Mm-hmm. That is.
And they can discover.
I mean, you can call it ecotourism, but that's just tourism, baby. That's just, they're coming, and whether you're 95 and you want to see it before you croak, or you're 12, and you want.
How involved is Dean in your marketing, Mary? I just
hey,
he gets pretty excited. Huh?
I know. No. I just like, hey, if you're going to croak
and
soon.
you're 12, and your parents want you to see something of this magnificence. Whatever drives you here.
Yeah. And then, but then, the other things that are here, one thing that nobody knows about is the lake. The lake is a pristine, beautiful thing. I love Lake Earl. Nobody goes out there.
Nobody goes there.
Even locals don't go out there. I know half a dozen people, and that's all the people I ever see out there.
I mean, every so often, the park will take people out on boats, and they'll row out there. Take kayak trips out, but. And people are trying, and there are endeavors. You see the kayaks on the Smith, Klamath, you have boats on the Klamath. There are things that are going on, but those businesses would be 10 times what they are right now if you had do what should be done, which is focus like a laser on what it is that would bring people to the community.
Yeah.
And then the businesses will build up around them to keep them here.
And that's what I'm saying with the ecotourism is that all these other things in Del Norte County kind of hang from redwoods. Redwoods, and then you've got river, you've got all the other undiscovered things in Del Norte County and camping opportunities and the shoreline, all of that, including your businesses. They all hang from that pinion of redwood.
Exactly. Dean is exactly right. He's awesome. I'll vote for him. So they've changed the longtime logo for our county. It says where the redwoods meet the sea.
Yeah,
which was not bad. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's memorable. It's
to where nature outnumbers people.
That is just wrong. Semantically, as a sentence, that's wrong. Yeah, that's apples and oranges. Nature is one thing; it cannot outnumber anybody. That just makes me angry.
But it is a mindset.
How?
And it is a critical mindset of many people today that want to see human interaction in the natural environment gone, eliminated, taken away.
Is that
and nature restored to the predominance
without people,
without human interaction?
Is that the source of the ambivalence regarding tourism in Del Norte County then, or one of the sources then? Here, come see, but don't get too close.
Well, I think that's part of the driver, but I also think that the other part of the driver is the fact that many of us have lived and grown and seen the decline of the community. We have seen the decline of the drivers, and I think once you live in a community that has undergone that kind of state, you don't see oftentimes the opportunity in front of your face because you've become accustomed to this.
You live this. Yeah.
Where else do you get a community that, not only did we embrace the prison, but it was our savior.
Yeah.
Right? And because of that, you have Walmart, and then we get all excited for Walmart. Oh, Home Depot, we get all excited for Home Depot, and they're great businesses to have because they are truly generators of income. I mean, these are truly things that generate income. Government does not generate income, does not grow you one iota. It helps to keep you where you are, but it will not produce. Fishing industry produces, agriculture produces.
That's an interesting insight into government and its role. At best, it is a status quo maintaining sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah,
and
right.
I think the mindset that it is what it is and it's never going to change. This is the way it's always going to be. It leads us to this funk that we have. We won't allow ourselves. Many people don't want to allow ourselves, and then there are just those that want no change. I mean, they just NIMBYs, not in my backyard. It's good for them, but not for me.
Yeah.
It's good for that, but not. I don't want to see it to be altered in any way from the lifestyle that I have when I live in Gaskia. I want it to be cute and quaint, and I want to have my river pure, and I don't want to have hundreds of people on it. I don't want to have and so we don't take advantage of what would and could literally, bring a huge, not only wealth to our community, and with that wealth that comes, I know as a government employee for years, if I want to have good law enforcement, if I want to have good schools, then you need a tax base. And if you want a tax base that's going to thrive, you need to have some economic driver. And we have a huge driver in this community. Yeah. We know because we're in that business, and it is a successful business, frighteningly successful. And it's not a limited pie. It is not, there's only one and anybody takes the same bite out of that pie and there's no more. No, there's lots of pies to be baked and lots of pies to be eaten.
Yeah.
And we can make successful businesses, make successful entrepreneurs, make successful, motels, hotels, restaurants, and entertainment businesses can be very successful in our communities. But we have to stop this mentality and stupidity that we have cursed ourselves with and take the one elephant that's in this room that everybody knows exists, but yet they don't want to put that elephant to work.
Let me do this. It is, 11:42 the time. I should have done this about 20 minutes ago. You're tuned to KFUG Community Radio, Community Service the Show. I've got John Thompson from the Trees of Mystery and Mary and Dean Wilson from Ocean World here discussing tourism. And we were on the new Visit Del Norte website. So my first thing looking at that, and when I saw, I think Sarah Carone at the Economic Summit this past year sort of debuted some pages from the website. It was supposed to be up, but there were delays. First thing I saw just as a photographer is that's the picture you're putting out front.
Yeah.
It looks like a gray, stormy, like we talked, this beach that you see in it. It looks like a place you'd end up being shipwrecked. And I'm like, that's the best foot we could put forward on the homepage. I also have a question for you two. They mention Trees of Mystery by name. They don't mention Ocean World by name, at least in the heading in the paragraph of attractions. I was looking through that. Is that a point of contention for you at all?
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you?
I am mentioned down there, and they, go into detail and
It's wrong, but yes.
Is it wrong?
Well, when they do get around to mentioning her name, and there's a paragraph and talk about all the nice things at Ocean World, and then it says, and then to get closer to nature, you get on the gondola and go for a ride. And it sounds like they have a new gondola there, and et cetera, and more stuff, and then finally at the bottom of the paragraph. At Trees of Mystery.
I know.
It was really stupid.
So what about
it wasn't well written. It was kind of cheeky. I felt. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know how to.
I found the whole thing, wherever I went in it, amongst all kinds of other issues, very shallow, flip, and uninformed.
Flip, that's the word.
Flip? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that right? The
yeah,
right term?
that's the right word.
I think
That's
so.
the word I was looking for.
I mean, and with the trees, okay, they talk about the tram gondola. Okay, there are trams and there are gondolas, but there's no such thing as a tram gondola.
Is this a function of the people from Bend being responsible for this? Who wrote the copy? Do we know?
No, I don't. But somebody had to approve it here.
Yeah. How effective is it to spend that money to have?
And you know what you do on that tram gondola?
What do you do?
The best opportunity to rest your feet. Really, seriously.
That's what they wrote in there.
What
Quote,
the gondola is for.
It's in there a couple times too.
It's you spend all that money and put that
They
in to
love
make
their
it
humor.
like a park bench, right? That's great. Wow.
This is the flip. This is the uninformed.
Yeah.
I mean, they missed the whole thing about the unique perspective in the redwood forest that
Yeah.
you can't get any other way to rest your feet. I mean, it's really pathetic.
So is this a function of this money being spent, this website being the marketing agency being in Bend and not being local? Did anybody, when all of this was going on for the last, year and a half or so, this marketing research that they did, were you folks approached by them? By the people doing the website, by the company out of Bend? Yeah.
A lady from Bend outfit did come. Her name was Lynette. She wandered around and took some notes and went away.
Rested
That's
her
it.
feet.
Yeah. I guess that was her impression.
Wow.
Totally didn't get it. Doesn't get the county. Doesn't get our attraction. Obviously, I'm sure that she is following instructions. Okay. And in the direction that they're going, and not really doing anything for redwoods or something that might encourage a visitor to come from out of town and get in the way. I think that's all. That's the only thing I can surmise.
Wow. All right. Well, here we are. We have Visit Del Norte. We have two very successful, I don't know, you don't like the term roadside attraction because it makes it seem like you're just a drive-through tree, right? You want Trees of Mysteries more than just
It's a little bit more, yeah.
It's a little bit more. And same with Ocean World, because you can spend a whole afternoon in Ocean World and do a lot of fun things. What do we do then? We've got Visit Del Norte. We've got the Redwoods. It seems like the people who have the most vested interest in tourism success right now, aside from everybody in the community, certainly the people with the most insight are you guys. What do we do with this? Are you still on the tourism board, Mary?
No, actually, the chamber board shut down the
tourism bureau.
So
there is no governing board for the bureau now?
I was on the marketing committee, and so then they, when Jeff Palmer got sick, they just disbanded it.
I'll be darned.
So, which was unfortunate because we had people from Redwood National Park and several, local businesses that just focused on that. And I don't know, they took it all back in hand at a higher level on the board, and then went forward with this idea.
I'm trying to figure out who's making these decisions then. I think my dad just did a U-turn out there. He just pulled up and he was going to come in and he saw, oh, right, he's on the air. And he turned around and went back away. Sorry. So, yeah, who made these calls? Do we know? Or is that a moot question at this point? I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, because I don't want to impugn anybody. I mean, I know Sarah Carone. I like Sarah Carone a whole bunch. She seems like somebody who has the community at heart and wants to make the best decisions. I'm just trying to, where did this watering down? Where did this website go wrong?
Yeah. I had the same. I never got to meet Sarah.
Me either. Never came to my business.
Nope. We have a new executive director, Cindy Vosberg, and I invited her to Trees of Mystery, and we had a great day together. I expressed some of my concerns, much as we have today, and she was very sympathetic. And hopefully we can work that way.
Do you have a reason to believe that she will respond in some way?
Only a hope.
Okay.
Not a reason to believe, but only a hope.
Okay. And as somebody with the background, at least most recently that I know of Cindy, with the being the publisher of the triplicate under Westcom, she, I think, would understand entirely sort of regional needs as far as marketing goes, especially. Wow. All right, so 11:48 the time. Paul Kritz with you, Community Service. You're tuned to KFUG Community Radio. What else then? What do we do? Really, seriously, I want to have like a next step. I hate just leaving things hanging like this. I really, really do. How would we get involved? What would be the way to spend money and effort to change the scene? We've got to get rid of this website. We've got to get involved with the chamber. Is that the inroad?
I think they should hire you to redo the website for them.
Oh God.
And,
I don't have time.
I know you don't have time, but you're a very talented storyteller, and we've worked together on videos for Trees of Mystery with you, and you're really an amazing talent at telling a story.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay, and so and tell our story from the perspective of somebody who understands the community and what we have and what the magic of the redwood forest and its uniqueness in the world, and tell the story, just tell it properly.
I just at the very least would like to have seen local people involved with the website. Not just me, but just low. I was thinking about how could this website be better? And they've got some pictures, right? And the pictures are kind of, and there's so many wonderful pictures I see, like Del Norte Photography, the Facebook group. Have a website that has featured images from local photographers of local things, pictures of the lighthouse, the pictures of these people. They're all over Facebook all the time. Link to the Facebook group. People who come to the website it shouldn't just be a story that they're told about Del Norte. It should be kind of an entrance to Del Norte. There should be fingers and tendrils coming off that website going right into the community and right into community groups and getting people right in touch with folks here. It seems that's just a no-brainer. I know so many people with amazing, arresting images, just people going out with their phones and their cameras and taking pictures, and so much better than the photos that are on the website.
That goes back to another problem with the webpage is that you're talking about images and photos. How many words is a picture worth?
Exactly.
And that website is almost all words. It goes on and on and on and on, and nobody will ever read it.
And that was the main concern I had with Explore, with what Explore Del Norte used to look like. It looked like a 90s website before we figured out how to do websites, right? It looked like a newspaper page on the computer screen. And doing research in past involvement with the Tourism Bureau, the Siskiyou County has or at least back then, I haven't looked at it since, had an arresting website. You'd looked at, I want to go to Siskiyou County. It was just pictures and just and different videos and just remarkable website. And you don't paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. There shouldn't be a paragraph talking about Trees of Mystery, talking about Ocean World. You should have a video. You should see an attraction, show something, here's a bit of the sea lions interacting.
And I've been in several of the restaurants, North Coast Grill and a few of the others, and they have these TV monitors running, and there's stunning images taken from drones.
Bob West
of our community, yeah.
Bob does that, and it's great. Port-au-Prince last night, same thing. I was down there,
some beautiful shots that could easily be incorporated into some of these websites, because they are beautiful and stunning, and they showcase, the nature that we have here in a way that, you don't see in a photograph or some of these other mechanisms. And how long does that take? I mean, and how hard or how difficult is that to do?
And it's already here.
And it's already here. Yeah, exactly.
I've seen some of Bob West's thing, and it's not even something, not redwoods or the light. He's just going down Pebble Beach and the drone, and I'm like, I want to go there.
Yes.
And it's just a neighborhood,
Yeah.
I want to go see that.
Absolutely. I mean, whether it's flyovers of Castle Rock or of the lighthouse, or from a different perspective, but they're engaging, they're intriguing, down South Beach up to, beautiful shots that, that promotes our community in ways that, that website will never do.
And some of the things specifically with the restaurants, it ends up basically being, here's something at the top, maybe an image, it almost looks like a stock photo. And then it's just like a laundry list. It's just like a page ripped out of the yellow pages. Here's, contact information, nothing about website, no images, nothing, reviews, Yelp, anything like, it's just, here's a list. Check them off as you go through town.
Pretty plain. Yeah. And they just didn't have a good feel for Del Norte. And because, again, I certainly agree with you. I think they should have local people put together web pages that know our area.
And people who, like yourself, who know how to market this area too, and have successfully for decades marketed this area.
Right. And if they're from Bend, if they were, they don't know Del Norte County.
Yeah. No matter how much money you give them.
Market or spend their money that, like John has learned the hard way where to market and where not to, and what works and what doesn't. Same with me. I've certainly tried things and they were tracked well for me. Other things didn't. So along the way, I learned the lesson. But people coming in from out of the area, they haven't learned through trial and error like we have. And so they're going to make those mistakes. And it costs all of us. So if they were to hire someone that already knew Del Norte and what works well to help market Del Norte, that would be ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything that we haven't covered you guys would like to say?
The only thing 2 cents I'd like to add is a lot of these places that we've talked about that are successful. Part of that success comes from a combination of commercial and government cooperation, and allowing commercial businesses to go into those areas, even around the park and in the park, to provide services, to provide, whether it's transportation, to provide food, to provide housing, hotels within the park grounds. A lot of the success comes with that government partnership.
Can you give us an example of that? I'm trying to.
Well, you go to some of the Yellowstones, or you go to some of the other large parks, and you have hotels that are within the grounds of the
concessionaires, park. I think.
And concessionaires and hotels, and you have services, whether it's kayaking or travel or even transportation within those park areas, and that has to be done. But it helps when you have that willingness of the park system and the park service to enter into contracts with these vendors to be able to allow the services to be put into those parks. To again, it fosters people coming in, but it also promotes the park and it provides opportunity, but it also provides
for business.
It also provides a revenue stream for the park service itself, that they can use that to, again, enhance trails, enhance the park system itself, enhance the signage, improve those things, and provide a better experience for everyone that comes.
So, I mean, what keeps us from doing that now? Is there just sort of a reluctance to involve commercial concerns in the park? Is it? It is. It's a
mindset of preservation as opposed to, you have the Titans, the Grove of Titans. And they want to do absolutely nothing to promote it, advertise it, improve the trails to it, improve the signage to it. They want to keep it a secret, so to speak, so that nobody goes and sees and disturbs, the Titan Grove, And so, it used to be that, the park system had an attitude of come and see. Now it's okay, you can come, but don't touch.
Right.
And if you come, don't have big crowds, and don't go off the trails, and don't, don't disturb the sand, don't disturb the water, don't disturb the, you can't go here, don't touch here, don't climb this, and that attitude, unfortunately, that preservation attitude, conservation attitude, it's not even really truly conservation. But again, it's an attitude that does not, encourage, bring the people, open it up, have good trails, have good access, have good parking.
Manage the crowds. You don't have to just open the gates and let them pour
it's
over.
Not, it's not an amusement park.
Yeah.
However, if you have accessibility, good parking, good roads, good access, and well-maintained trails, then it becomes a much better experience for the people when they come.
Yeah.
And it allows more to come. You go to the Boy Scout tree trail, and during the summer,
it's
good to try to find a parking spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I
had to park almost
incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And look at the plates. They're from all over the country, all over the country. Even after the season, you drive up there and you'll see, Idaho, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois. I mean, they're from all over coming and going on these trails that they see on their cell phones, that they hear, get information about. In that partnering with commercial industry, commercial businesses, partnering with the park system and the willingness to work together for the benefit of everything. That has to be hand in hand if you're going to, have that tourist industry come. We want them to come. We want them to see the redwoods, enjoy the redwoods, and have that opportunity to engage in there in an enjoyable and pleasant fashion. And then we want them to stay so we can take their money.
Yeah, right. That's what it is. That's what it is. Eat at the restaurants, go to Ocean World, go to trees, yeah, exactly. And in that way, since logging and fishing have gone away, there's enough of that out there now. And I think certainly, and this is one thing, you can go to Muir Woods, right, north of San Francisco, and wade through the crowds and enjoy the redwoods and everything. But if you spend the day and you come up here, it's an entirely different experience for you. Because I think a lot of the folks, and I went up with my eldest, Matt, he was visiting from college just for 10 brief days this summer. And we went and we walked, we did the Boy Scout Trail because we like hiking together and doing stuff when we get out there. And yeah, I had to drive way past the bend to get up by where Mill Creek comes back in by the road, maybe, 200-300 yards up, and then hike to the trailhead to take the hike because it was car after car after car. And I think a lot of people like coming up here because they drive through an old growth forest on a gravel road. It's not a highway. You don't end up at a parking area. You end up at a parking area, but you don't end up at a parking lot. You're kind of out in the forest, and it is a much different experience than what you can get closer to the big cities and things like that. So that's such a plus and such a draw that we have this sort of this pristine experience still up here. And yeah, if you have the people coming in, spending the money, then you have the resources to maintain that pristine experience as well and not have it be ruined. And I think a lot of folks, and I'm guilty of this too, a lot of folks will just go, more people are bad. And not, more people are just an opportunity to succeed in a different way, I think, right?
And if we want to do what has always been the state, and I can't tell you, living here as long as I've had, everyone says, well, we can't expect our kids to stay here because there's just nothing for them, There is.
Yeah.
There is one thing that exists in this community that exists probably very few places, and that's opportunity. There is a huge opportunity resting right here in this community that would provide great lives, great living, good economy, good jobs for not only for starting but also success in starting your own businesses and being your own entrepreneur and being your own boss, and all the wealth that comes with that, all the success that allows people to enjoy and have the things that they want. It exists here. We just don't open and unlock the treasure that's waiting at our feet. Like you says, looking for water while standing in the middle of the river.
Mississippi River, yeah. About people, okay, like, for instance, at the trees industry, we're 120 acres. We have 400,000 visitors a year.
Wow.
National Park has 168,000 acres. They have about 400,000 visitors.
Okay, well, you manage that very well.
We manage it pretty well.
Yes, you do.
I mean, basically everybody has a really good time there. Okay. And so those crowds can be managed. Okay.
Yeah.
And large numbers of people. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you should know, right?
I should know.
Yeah. We didn't even get into your rocket science.
Well, no, that's another subject.
That is another subject. All right. It is 2 minutes past noon. I've got to go on to the next thing. We've got Health Matters with Lynn Szabo, PA from Redwood Urgent Care. That's right around the corner. John Thompson from Trees of Mystery. You're only in town for a few more days, right?
Yep.
And then you're back off to the Gulf.
Yeah, back to Florida, and we do trade shows and conventions and things like that in the wintertime back there. Like I said, Gatlinburg I've been going to for 25 years. That's the best gift show for our gift shop. We have 16,000 different items in our store, and that's where we replenish it and find new things and et cetera.
Wow. Mary, Dean, thanks for coming in and contributing. Anything else that you'd like to say?
Paul. No, thank you, Paul.
All right. And congratulations on the good seasons you guys had. That's fantastic. That's really reassuring.
The whole county. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Just exactly. See, that's the thing right there. You had a good season. That means we all did.
Yeah.
Right.
Helps everybody.
Water's good. Everyone should come in.
All right. I got to answer the phone, I guess. You're tuned to Kate. Well, why am I telling you where you're tuned? I'll let Taylor tell you that.
You are listening to KFUG LP Crescent City, broadcasting to the masses at 101.1 FM or broadcasting to the NSA online at kfugradio.org.